Have you ever imagined what would happen if money could hear you? What if it silently responded to the way you think, feel, and speak about it? In today's video, we'll reveal the mental secret taught by Thomas Troward, capable of completely transforming your relationship with prosperity. But before we begin, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on notifications, because here you learn to use the power of the mind to open the flow of abundance. Troward said that money is an obedient energy. It has no will of its own, doesn't choose whom to serve, makes no moral distinctions. It simply responds to the dominant vibration of the mind that attracts or repels it. When someone speaks of money with fear, they push it away. When they speak with gratitude and respect, they call it back. The mental law is exact. The universe doesn't listen to words spoken by the mouth, but to those felt by the heart. He taught that all visible substance is the result of an invisible order. Money is merely the physical manifestation of a mental idea, the idea of value, exchange, worthiness, and like every idea, it responds to how it is treated. Money is a servant, Troward said, and like every servant, it works best when respected. The way you think and speak about it determines whether it approaches with fluidity or hides in obedience to your vibration. Thus, the secret lies not in chasing money, but in educating the mind that commands it. Speaking to it is speaking to the universe that sustains it. It's reprogramming the pattern that has treated it as an enemy for so long. Troward affirmed that money is neutral. What makes it good or bad is the consciousness that directs it. And when that consciousness is purified, money returns to occupy its natural role, an instrument of divine abundance. Thomas Troward said that money is merely the material reflection of your mental state. It doesn't create the pattern, it only reveals it. Everything you think and feel about it transforms into visible results. If you fear it, it disappears. If you bless it, it grows. Money has no morality, purpose, or personality of its own. It only imitates the consciousness that keeps it in focus. Therefore, Troward affirmed that a person's financial life is the most exact portrait of their unconscious beliefs. He explained that the mind is divided into two parts: the conscious, which decides, and the subconscious, which creates. The first may desire prosperity, but if the second still believes in scarcity, fear, or guilt, money will respond to that lower frequency. The subconscious mind is like a perfect servant. It executes without questioning. And that's why Troward said, life never errs. It only obeys the image you project. Imagine money as a visitor arriving at your home. If you receive it with worry, guilt, or haste to see it leave, it feels unwelcome. But if you welcome it with gratitude, respect, and tranquility, it returns. It's the same with the energy of prosperity. It responds to the quality of reception. The universe reads your feeling, not your words. Troward insisted that money is a spiritual force in concrete form, an instrument of service, a means of expressing good. When someone understands this, the struggle ceases. Fear dissolves, and the flow begins to run again. From that point, speaking to money ceases to be a symbolic act and becomes a conscious exercise of harmony with mental law. Money, then, is no longer a problem. It's a faithful messenger of your own inner state. Thomas Troward affirmed that everything in the universe is vibration, including money. It is a condensed form of energy that moves toward the mind that offers it the most harmonious environment. Just as water naturally flows to the lowest level, money naturally flows to the most open level, the mind that vibrates in trust, gratitude, and security. When there is fear, resentment, or guilt, the flow retracts. Money doesn't take offense, it simply obeys the dominant frequency. He explained that money is sensitive to emotion, not to need. Thousands of people need it, but few attract it. The difference lies in the feeling with which they invoke it. Need screams, faith whispers, and the universe hears the whisper. When you speak to money as one speaks to an ally, thanking it, recognizing its value, blessing it when it comes and when it goes, you're emitting a vibrational order of approach. The subconscious understands, here it's safe to prosper. Troward said that to change the relationship with money, one must change the emotional climate of the mind. He compared this to warming a cold room. The cold doesn't need to be expelled, only replaced by warmth. Similarly, it's not necessary to fight against lack, But to generate the presence of good through harmonious thoughts and words, money will come by law, not by luck. He called this attitude reverence for substance. Money, when treated with respect, assumes its sacred place as a symbol of life's flow. And the more harmony exists in this relationship, the more freely it circulates. The secret, Troward said, is to understand that money is not something to be conquered, but something to be cooperated with. When the mind learns to vibrate in this harmony, prosperity becomes a natural consequence of your inner presence. Thomas Troward taught that speaking to money is speaking to the universe in its material form. He didn't see this as an act of fantasy, but of consciousness. When you address money with clear intention, you're training the mind to relate to the energy of prosperity in an orderly and positive way. Money, being an expression of law, responds to mental clarity. Therefore, every word, every emotion, and every attitude become commands that direct it. Troward explained that the problem is that most people speak to money only in moments of desperation. They call it with fear, accuse it when it's lacking, and curse it when it leaves. The mind then records a pattern of rejection, and money obeys this silent repulsion. The secret is to reverse the dialogue. Speak to money when there is peace, gratitude, and respect. It's in this climate that the mind creates the mold of abundance. He suggested simple but powerful phrases. Money, I bless you. You are welcome in my life. I use you with wisdom and joy. These declarations are not magic formulas, they are exercises in mental alignment. They re-educate the subconscious, teaching it that money is safe, good, and deserved. The universe interprets these vibrations as authorization to act, and circumstances begin to move in favor of abundance. Troward said that whoever speaks to money with love speaks to God through form. And when this reverence becomes natural, financial flow ceases to be a struggle and transforms into cooperation. Money begins to obey mental harmony because it recognizes in it the reflection of law itself. Speaking to money, therefore, is much more than a metaphor. It's a spiritual practice that reactivates the link between the visible and the invisible. Thomas Troward said that the subconscious is the true treasurer of life. It guards, multiplies, and distributes according to the commands it receives from the conscious mind. But what few realize is that it doesn't understand ironies, doubts, or sarcasms, only emotions associated with words. When you say, "I'm broke," the subconscious understands literally and seeks situations that confirm this vibration. When you affirm, "Money comes to me easily," and truly feel this as possible, it works day and night to materialize this new truth. Troward taught that the subconscious is the most faithful servant of the universe. It doesn't distinguish good from evil, it only fulfills orders, and these orders are given, almost always, unconsciously, in daily conversations, automatic thoughts, and comments made without attention. Each word creates a trail and the subconscious follows it. Therefore, the way you speak of money in routine is more powerful than the affirmations you make consciously. He recommended a simple practice. Observe yourself. How many times a day do you speak of money in a tone of complaint, fear, or distrust? Each time this happens, the subconscious records a decree and begins to obey it. But the good news, Troward said, is that the mind can be re-educated at any time. Replacing negative phrases with expressions of trust is like changing the map the subconscious follows. He said, "If you want to change your fortune, change your words." It's simple but requires vigilance. Every time you notice a thought of scarcity, replace it with a declaration of abundance. Over time, the new language creates a new pattern, and the subconscious begins to work in your favor. Money, obedient to the dominant vibration, begins to flow as a reflection of the renewed mind. Because, according to Troward, whoever masters words masters reality itself. Thomas Troward explained that the way you give and receive money is a silent prayer. Each transaction, a purchase, a payment, a donation, is a message sent to the universe about how you understand prosperity. He said that when you pay with resentment or fear, you're unconsciously declaring there isn't enough. But when you pay with gratitude and joy, you affirm there's more where this came from. Mental law registers the feeling, and money responds with exactness. He taught that money is a flow, and that restricting the flow is restricting life itself. People who fear spending are actually afraid of trusting. They think they're being prudent, but they're vibrating in scarcity. Those who spend with consciousness without guilt or ostentation, are telling the mind, I am part of the movement of good. Money feels this freedom and returns multiplied, obeying the vibration of the cheerful giver. Troward said that the secret is to unite both ends of the cycle, give with love and receive with dignity. Many learn to donate, but few know how to receive. By refusing money, praise, or help, the person blocks the return of the energy they themselves released. The universe loves balance, he said, and all energy needs to complete the cycle to continue flowing. Speaking to money, therefore, is also learning to listen to it. When you open yourself to receive, the flow completes itself. He summarized this principle in a simple phrase: give with joy, receive with gratitude, and the universe will never cease to serve you. This is the true conversation with money, not of words, but of energy. The mind that blesses when money leaves and thanks when it enters lives in harmony with the law of return. And when there is harmony, there is no loss, only circulation. Money obeys the one who treats it as what it truly is, a sacred form of life's movement. Among the cases reported by followers of Thomas Troward's teachings, there was that of Elisa, a woman who lived in constant struggle with money. Whenever she received it, something happened. The car broke down, an unexpected bill appeared, or someone asked for help. She said, "Money never stays with me." When she learned Troward's principles, she realized that without noticing, she spoke to money every day, but did so with fear and resentment, and it, faithful to the law, only obeyed. Determined to change, Elisa began practicing a simple exercise. Every time she received an amount, no matter how small, she said, "Money, I bless you. You are welcome in my life." And when she needed to pay something, she repeated, "Go and return multiplied." At first it seemed symbolic, even naive, but gradually she noticed that the feeling of loss disappeared. She began to feel lightness, peace, and even joy in dealing with money. Within a few months, new opportunities arose, and for the first time she ended the month with surplus. Troward said that emotion is the true prayer. Elisa had changed her vibration, and money simply responded. What was once fear became gratitude. What was once resistance became trust. And the law, obedient, mirrored the new attitude. Prosperity, Troward said, doesn't arrive as a favor. It arrives as a consequence of harmony between mind and energy. When the mind calms down, money hears again. Elisa's story shows that the secret lies not in complicated formulas, but in subtle shifts of consciousness. Speaking to money is actually speaking to life itself. Each word is a seed, each feeling is the soil. When both align, the miracle becomes routine. Money is not mysterious, it's simply obedient, and when it returns to obeying, peace returns with it. Thomas Troward affirmed that gratitude is the language money understands most clearly. He said that no force in the universe is more magnetic than sincere recognition of good. When you give thanks for what you have, for the bill you managed to pay, for the food on the table, or even for the simple opportunity to exchange energy, you're sending a powerful order to the subconscious. There is abundance in my life. The universe interprets this as authorization to amplify that state. Troward explained that gratitude changes the vibrational field of the mind. It dissolves fear, neutralizes doubt, and transforms the feeling of lack into certainty of provision. Money responds to this frequency the same way a plant responds to light. It grows toward the vibration of appreciation. Therefore, the secret is not to ask for more, but to honor what is already present. The grateful mind is a fertile mind. In it, everything good multiplies. He recommended that gratitude be cultivated even in moments of difficulty. When money seems to be lacking, that's precisely when the power of thanksgiving is strongest. To give thanks when all is well is easy, Troward said. To give thanks when there is scarcity is to declare faith in invisible abundance, and that faith, once established, alters the vibration in such a way that the invisible begins to take form quickly. Speaking to money, therefore, is also blessing it on its journey. When it arrives, say, "Thank you for coming." When it leaves, say, "Go and return multiplied." These small phrases, repeated with emotion, re-educate the mind and strengthen the field of trust. The subconscious learns that money is a cycle and that it always returns. Gratitude is the invisible command that keeps this cycle open. And when the cycle remains open, the flow never stops again. Thomas Troward taught that money, like all material forms, is a condensation of the divine mind. It is not an enemy of the spirit, but one of its most practical manifestations. Everything that exists is mind in motion, he said. When we understand this, money ceases to be an obsession or a taboo and becomes an extension of creative energy. Speaking to money is therefore a way of dialoguing with the universe itself, recognizing it as a cooperator of good. Troward explained that the error lies in separating the spiritual from the material. As long as this division exists, internal conflict will prevent the flow. The mind thinks, God wants me prosperous, but feels, I shouldn't desire wealth. This contradiction blocks the law. Money obeys the dominant thought. If there is guilt, it moves away. When the mind understands that prosperity is sacred because it expresses the balance of the Creator, the conflict dissolves and harmony is re-established. He said that money is a neutral force awaiting conscious direction. When guided by ego, it causes imbalance. When guided by wisdom, it produces blessing. Thus, speaking to money with love and respect is also an act of prayer, a way of recognizing that the divine manifests even in the small exchanges of daily life. Money is the earthly symbol of spiritual circulation. It carries and brings energy, and the more freely it circulates, the more lives it touches. For Troward, true wealth is living in harmony with this universal order. It's feeling that everything that arrives is part of the same flow that also takes away, and that in this movement, there is no loss, only continuity. Money is merely the messenger. The message is the consciousness that directs it. When that consciousness is pure, money becomes an instrument of expanding good, and its presence in life ceases to be effort and becomes evidence of harmony between mind and spirit. Thomas Troward affirmed that words only gain power when they are in harmony with feeling. He said that many people try to affirm prosperity while carrying emotions of fear, guilt, or unworthiness. In this condition, the mind emits confusing signals and the universe obedient remains neutral. The secret is to align verb and heart, to speak good and feel good at the same time. When this happens, money obeys not because it was invoked, but because it was recognized. Troward called this alignment mental unity. For him, it's impossible to manifest abundance while fearing wealth. Money responds to acceptance, not contradiction, he said. Therefore, the most powerful practice is not repeating phrases, but feeling that they are already true. The mind that feels gratitude for what it doesn't yet see is actually seeing with the eyes of spirit. And what is seen internally hastens to become reality. He compared emotion to the sap that gives life to the tree. The word is the seed, but feeling is the nourishment. Without emotion, the seed dries. When you speak to money in a neutral way, nothing happens. But when you speak with love, enthusiasm, and respect, the entire universe moves in response. Money doesn't obey sound, it obeys vibration. It's the energy behind the words that determines the result. Therefore, Troward insisted, before speaking to money, enter a state of peace. Breathe. Remember that abundance is your inheritance, and feel the tranquility of one who knows that good is guaranteed. Only then speak. In this vibration of harmony, words become creative commands, and the mind becomes the temple of wealth. When there is coherence between what is said and what is felt, mental law acts with perfection, and money inevitably obeys. Thomas Troward said that money obeys the disciplined mind. He explained that it's not enough to intellectually understand the laws of prosperity. One must transform them into mental habit. The human mind by nature oscillates, and each oscillation changes the vibrational command. Today it believes, tomorrow it doubts. Today it gives thanks, tomorrow it fears. This instability confuses the subconscious, which awaits clear instructions to act. Therefore, daily exercise is the true laboratory of mental obedience. Troward recommended a simple routine. Every day, in a moment of calm, consciously speak to money with gratitude and respect. Say, you are an expression of good. I receive you with love and release you with trust. These phrases, repeated with sincere emotion, reprogram the subconscious and strengthen vibrational stability. The practice is not to convince money, it's to convince the mind. Over time, this new way of thinking becomes natural, and prosperity becomes an inevitable consequence. He also taught that silence is as powerful as the word. Between one affirmation and another, it's important to be quiet and feel. This silence is not empty, it's the space where energy organizes itself. The mind that knows to be silent after declaring good shows that it trusts, and mental law always rewards trust. Money obeys the serene mind, not the anxious one. Therefore, Troward said that faith is not a passing emotion, but a spiritual discipline. It's remaining firm in the certainty that good is on its way, even when nothing seems to change. This constant training teaches the subconscious that abundance is life's natural pattern. And once this certainty is established, money loses the power to generate fear. It becomes merely a reflection of a mind that has finally learned to command, not to beg. Thomas Troward said that money is not a prize, but a reflection of awakened consciousness. It never arrives by chance, nor leaves without reason. It only follows the invisible command of the ideas you sustain as truth. When the mind understands this, fear disappears and money returns to its natural role, to be a servant of harmony. Speaking to money is therefore a gesture of spiritual authority. It's recognizing that the universe obeys mental clarity and rewards constant trust. He taught that the true secret lies not in accumulating, but in vibrating according to the flow of abundance. Money is merely the messenger. The message is what you believe about yourself. If you see yourself as worthy, it obeys. If you see yourself as needy, it moves away. Therefore, the most important exercise is not to ask, but to remember that wealth is your natural inheritance and that the Creator desires not limitation, but full expression. When you speak to money with respect, gratitude, and serenity, you're actually speaking to the divine mind itself. And this conversation changes everything. Money begins to circulate with lightness, opportunities arise, doors open, not by miracle, but by obedience to law. Abundance manifests where there is consciousness of it. Scarcity only survives where there is forgetfulness of inner power. So from today forward, speak to money not as one who begs, but as one who commands with love. Say, "You are welcome in my life. I receive you with joy and release you with gratitude." These words, spoken with faith, are decrees of power. They activate the mental law that Troward dedicated his entire life to revealing. And if this teaching touched your heart, like this video, subscribe to the channel and share it with someone who also wishes to learn to converse with money. Because when one mind awakens to abundance, it inspires many others to do the same. And thus, together, we create a world where money ceases to be fear and returns to being the reflection of the divine mind in action.